In our day-to-day life, we came across too many things that we need to separate from one another. Sometimes these separations are easy and sometimes these are tough. In our previous episode, we talked about mixtures and compounds. Today, we are going to talk about the different methods of separation of a mixture into its pure component. Hello everyone, welcome to the show. I hope you are doing well. Let's begin the show. Let's start with separation of volatile and non-volatile substances from each other. So, what are non-volatile substances? A non-volatile substance refers to a substance that does not readily evaporate into a gas under existing conditions, as ink particles are non-volatile and water is a volatile substance. The separation method used for this kind of mixtures are called evaporation. You can conduct this process as fill half a beaker with water, put a watch glass on the mouth of the beaker, put few drops of ink on the watch glass. Now start heating the beaker. Ink should not be heated directly. It could burn due to excess of heat. You will see that evaporation is taking place from the watch glass. Continue heating as the evaporation goes on, and stop heating when you do not see any further change on the watch glass. Observe carefully. You will see that water molecules are evaporated and inks are left behind. So, this is how we can separate a volatile substance from a non-volatile substance using the method of separation. Second one is separation of compound having denser and lighter components. Sometimes the solid particles in a liquid are very small and pass through the filter paper. For such particles, the filtration technique cannot be used for separation. Such mixtures are separated by centrifugation. Centrifugation is a technique used for separation of particles from a solution according to their size, shape, density, viscosity of the medium, and rotor speed. The principle is that the denser particles are forced to the bottom and lighter particles stay at the top when spun rapidly. You can separate these components by this process. Take some full cream milk in a test tube. Centrifuge it by using centrifuging machine for 2 minutes. You will see that denser components of fat and proteins are set on the bottom, while lighter component water is floating above them. There are different kind of applications for this technique in our life, such as it is used in diagnostic laboratories for blood and urine tests. It is used in dairies and homes to separate butter from cream. It is used in washing machine to squeeze out water from wet clothes, etc. Third is separation of two immiscible liquids. Immiscible liquids are those which could not mix to give a single phase. One floats on top of the other. Oil and water are examples of immiscible liquid. The principle to separate this mixture is that immiscible liquids separate out in layers depending on their densities. Let us try to separate kerosene oil from water using separating funnel. Pour the mixture of kerosene oil and water in a separating funnel. Let it stand undisturbed for some time so that separate layer of oil and water are formed. Open the stopcock of the separating funnel and pour out the lower layer of water carefully. Close the stopcock of the separating funnel as the oil reaches the stopcock. You will see that water and oil are now separated. There are some common applications of this technique, as it is used in separating mixture of oil and water. In the extraction of iron from its ore, the lighter slag is removed from the top by this method to leave the molten iron at the bottom in the furnace. Fourth is separation of sublimable volatile component and non-sublimable impurities. The substance which changes its state from solid to gaseous state or gaseous to solid state directly is known as sublimable substance. A volatile substance is one that evaporates or sublimates at room temperature or below. To separate this kind of mixtures, we use technique called sublimation. The process is take a mixture of sublimable volatile component and non-sublimable impurities. For example, mixture of salt and ammonium chloride in a china dish. Put an inverted funnel on the china dish. Close the upper end of the funnel with cotton to keep the gases inside. Now, light the burner under the china dish. You will see that sublimable component like ammonium chloride will convert directly from solid to gaseous phase and will settle down on the wall of funnel in solid form, and non-sublimable impurities will stay in the bottom. This is how we can separate this kind of mixtures. Fifth is separation of soluble substance from solution. For example, ink, in which water is solvent and dye particles are soluble. It is known that in a black ink there are different types of color particles. To separate these color particles, the technique we use is known as chromatography. The principle is that the colored component that is more soluble in water rises faster, and in this way the colors get separated. Let's see how this works. Take a thin strip of filter paper. Draw a line on it using a pencil, approximately 3 cm above the lower edge. Put a small drop of ink at the center of the line and let it dry. Lower the filter paper into a jar containing water so that the drops of ink on the paper is just above the water level, and leave it undisturbed. Watch carefully as the water rises up on the filter paper. You will see that the particles of different color are raised in a particular region and are separated. Sixth is separation of two miscible liquids. Miscibility refers to the ability of a liquid to completely dissolve in other liquid solution. Two liquids are said to be miscible when they are completely dissolved in one another. To separate this kind of mixture, we use distillation technique. Distillation is the process of separating the components or substances from a liquid mixture by using selective boiling and condensation. The process is take acetone and water mixture to separate them. Take the mixture in a distillation flask, fit it with a thermometer. Arrange the apparatus properly. Heat the mixture slowly, keeping a close watch at the thermometer. The acetone vaporizes, condenses in the condenser at a particular temperature and can be collected from the condenser outlet. Water is left behind in the distillation flask. The principle is different liquid has different boiling point. Heat the mixture until the temperature is raised to the liquid having lesser boiling point. Now the liquid will vaporize and can be collected as given in the process. To perform this technique, there should be at least 25 Kelvin boiling point difference in the both liquids. Seventh is separation of different gases from air. Air is a homogeneous mixture and can be separated into its components by fractional distillation. Fractional distillation is the process to separate a mixture into its components or fractions. The process is compress and cool the air by increasing pressure and decreasing temperature. Air will be converted into liquid. Now, allow the liquid air to warm up slowly in fractional distillation column. Now, Gases will get separated at different heights, and it can be collected from the different outlets. This is how mixture of different gases are separated. The last one is separation of copper sulfate from an impure sulfate. To make this separation, we use method known as crystallization. Crystallization is a process that separates a pure solid in the form of crystal from a solution. The process to perform this method is: take some impure sample of copper sulfate in a china dish. Dissolve it in minimum amount of water and filter the impurities out. Evaporate water from the copper sulfate solution so as to get a saturated solution. Cover the solution with a filter paper and leave it undisturbed at room temperature to cool down slowly for a day. You will obtain the crystals of copper sulfate in the china dish. And this is how you can get the pure form of copper sulfate from an impure sulfate. So, today we used different techniques and methods to separate different kinds of mixtures. If you have something that cannot be separated by these methods, tell us in the comment box. For more information about this or any episode of the series, check out the blog. Link is in the description. We have additional contents, further readings and transcript of every show. If you value the show and educational resources and wanna help keep it going, subscribe the channel and also subscribe our blog. Or alternatively, you can like, comment and share the show. It may be just a click for you, but every little bit adds up. Thank you for coming to the channel and watching the video. I hope you loved the show.